All right, welcome back to the Sports Call as we continue here. Another big story today was another transfer from Jeff Capel's program. Xavier Johnson this time. We saw Trey McGowan's last night play against Penn State with Nebraska. We also saw Ryan Murphy transfer out. He now plays for Duquesne. Michael Claus on Twitter, who hits us up at Chris Mueller, PGH, at KD Pompey, says, little disappointed so far, lots of promise, but now with this setback, it's going to take longer than I expected. I believe in Jeff Capel. Let's see if he can get it going again. This is just Chris, this is one of those things that Pitt has gone through on both of their biggest franchise makers, that is football and basketball, that it seems like they're just stuck in this mediocre trend, and it's very difficult to get out of it. And this is another opportunity now. This was part of his 2018 class, and all of a sudden it's nothing left of it, basically.
I mean, the writing probably should have been on the wall for all of us when Capel aired him out a little bit in the media publicly, which I don't think you see happen very often at the collegiate level. Calipari will occasionally do it at Kentucky with his guys when he's really unhappy, but otherwise I think it's pretty rare. And it's just obvious that they were disagreeing fundamentally, Xavier Johnson and this staff. And, I think the problem with Pitt is it only takes a handful of players in college hoops. You got to really build a program from the ground up in college football. And what's kind of problematic about Pitt hoops is it seems like they have some of the obvious building block talent pieces here, and Johnson was one of them. It's a little disconcerting for me, though. I like Jeff Capel. I want to see him succeed. It's a little disconcerting that he can't seem to get a consistent buy-in, a certain kind of level of poise on the court from his guys. And Xavier Johnson was kind of the truest example of this. Super talented player who could win them games and did, but was a net negative in a lot of ways by the end. I mean, the fact that this was mutual is kind of alarming too. That means it wasn't just the players saying, I'm tired of this here, I want to get out. It seems like Jeff Capel had had enough. I think that too is troubling.
And you're right. He made those comments, and at that point you knew that he had tried everything and it wasn't working, so this was going to be the final straw, and it was. And so we'll see now Justin Champagnie. You wonder what he's going to do because he's the only really left. They have a few other guys, Audis, Tony, and whatever, but he's the one that you have to worry about in terms of maybe potentially going to the NBA draft. Who knows? All right, let's go to the lines. We got Bert and Ross Traver, who's first up tonight. Hey, Bert, how you doing?
Well, thanks. Yeah, the Steelers have so many holes to fill, and I agree that they have to address them in the draft and free agency. But I know they've been very good at picking up receivers in the draft. I don't think they really have enough picks to really pick one up this year. I was wondering what you guys think about maybe bringing in Deshaun Jackson as a deep threat. I think they could use another deep threat to really help them move towards their goal.
You got to get the ball there, though. So, here's the thing.
Mason Rudolph was the quarterback, maybe. If Rudolph was the quarterback, Deshaun, I'm serious, though. It's funny that Bert, who I think used to call my show on The Fan late at night as Bert and Bell Vernon, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, he moved to Ross Traver.
Well, I mean, it's like neighboring communities here. But Mason Rudolph, I had this thought when I saw Deshaun Jackson was going to be available. I thought, man, if Mason Rudolph was their quarterback, it would be a luxury item kind of thing, and you wouldn't need it, but it would almost just be like fantasy football accumulation there. You'd love to watch a guy that loves to throw the deep ball, throw it to, and this is no exaggeration, you can go look up the stats. Deshaun Jackson's maybe the best pure deep threat since Randy Moss, or you could just say in NFL history. I mean, the guy is unbelievably good at catching long bombs for touchdowns. And if Rudolph was their quarterback, it honestly would not be that bad of a player and quarterback fit.
I would agree with that, but I don't think that's going to happen just because of the other things. Now, because you have guys like Jackson, there are going to be other guys who are going to be released from contracts or free to go to wherever they want, and there could be some veteran help along the offensive line. They can draft someone, put them with Dotson at the guard. They need a center. They may be able to pick somebody up there, and I wonder about B.J. Finney, who's always seems to be attached to the Steelers, even though he went elsewhere. Now is in Cincinnati. They're going to pick up guys.
Bring Jesse James back too. Let's bring the real band back together here.
They always had a high opinion of him, and so we'll see. There's a way to assemble it. They're going to have to do that. They have to get a lot of production out of their line. Brad in Cranberry joins us right now on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Hey, Brad.
Hey, what's going on, Pomp? So I was wondering, I hear a lot of talk about the Steelers drafting or trading up to draft a quarterback. What do you think, if they were going to do that, would be a realistic position they would trade up to? And who do you think they would take? Or with the new talks about Ben coming back, do you think that's not even realistic at all?
First of all, I think trading up to where they have to go, you'd have to give up a lot and I don't think they want to do that. They have too many other needs. So, Chris, I don't see that happening at all, and I wouldn't do it for Mac Jones if I had to. If he fell there, I don't know how I would look at that. I still don't think I'd do it. But the guys they would want, I think, are in the top 10 of the draft, and to get there is almost impossible.
First of all, Brad, rock on, man. Yeah, sounded cool, dude. Brad sounded like he was having a fun night. He sounded like he was extremely relaxed.
Nothing wrong with that.
I saw. No, believe me, I endorse that. Trust me, that just being relaxed in general, I endorse it. I saw Mac Jones at 13th overall to the Steelers in Ryan Wilson's CBS mock, and I don't think Mac Jones is a first-round caliber talent to begin with. And with all due respect to Ryan, who I like, we have him on the show, I think that's lunacy. That would be pure desperation to move up that high to get him. You're right, Bob. The guys they would really want, the 4 quarterbacks that are obvious prototype quarterbacks for the NFL in 2021, are all going to be gone most likely by, I would say at the latest, pick 10, and that's it. So I don't think you take a quarterback this year, and I guess you just hope Ben Roethlisberger does something good. It's the best I can say.
You never know how it's going to work out. I mean, something could happen, and all of a sudden Rudolph would get the chance that people are, clamoring for him to get, but it may not either. And there's a lot going on after this, and there's still a way to do it in this, following draft. And I'm not even sure what that quarterback crop of talent would look like at this point. But, the bottom line is they still have a lot of work to do, and they're trying to win. Art Rooney said it, that they want him back to win a championship. If that is the stated goal, then, boy, they got a lot of work to do on the offensive line and the run game. Jack joins us right now. Hey, Jack.
Hi, Bob. That's exactly what I would like to ask, is that if you're going to bring Ben back, you've talked on it, and I think everyone in Pittsburgh sports media has talked on it. If you're going to bring Ben back, you can't have him throw 35, 45 times a game. So that would suggest then you're going to have to get really aggressive to address the running back need, whether it be in the draft. And if you don't think there's a guy you can draft in our pick, then they're going to have to spend very heavily in free agency. It doesn't make sense to me to bring Ben back.
Well, they don't have any money to spend in free agency. I mean, they might be able to move some money around with Roethlisberger to get freed up a little bit under the cap, but guess what? They're going to use that to try to keep their own guys. That's been their MO. I think you try to draft offensive line help, immediate offensive line help, and I think you try to find a running back. There's a kid from North Carolina whose name has been mentioned so many times, I should probably know it off the top of my head, but a lot of the insider draft people think he's the best value at the position in the entire draft and can probably be had in the 3rd round. I'd go offensive line, and then maybe running back, and that's how my first 3 picks would shake out.
Well, I would definitely agree that it comes down to they're going to need offensive line, multiple guys in this draft, and unlike 10 years ago, they're going to be called upon to play, just like Dotson did last year, and they better produce. I think it's interesting if you look. Aditi put out a tweet today, which I like. She said, when the Steelers rush for 100 yards, Ben Roethlisberger is 106-20-1. That's an .839 win percentage. When they don't, he's 50-54. Since 2018, 12-0-1 when his team has a 100-yard rushing yard. So bottom line is it makes it easier for all quarterbacks, and you can actually do something to keep a defense honest. And they did not do that. It was too easy to defend that team, and they have to change that. And now
the first 5 games last year were that way.
Yeah, they were good.
He had a running attack, and he was on cruise control, and I don't know why they went away from that.
I don't either. And it was strange because they proved they can do it, and all of a sudden it stopped. Anyway, time for our Tri-State Office Furniture Tweet of the Day, and this is about Ben Roethlisberger. And even with a better run game, still, this guy, in his prime, he was outstanding in this regard. 4 career games with 500-plus passing yards. That's the most in NFL history from Pro Football Focus. We're due for a break. We'll take it back with more right after this. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call right here live on Pittsburgh CW.